Everything you eat is fake now. Not because every carton in the store is a scam, and not because every farmer vanished overnight. It feels fake because the food aisle has become a financial machine, where flavor, size, convenience, and trust are quietly redesigned before they reach your cart. By the end, you will understand why groceries feel different, why the same trip costs more, why labels sound cleaner than the food tastes, and why the biggest trick is not always in the ingredients. Sometimes the trick is the price, the package, the placement, and the habit. The most important thing is this. Fake food is not only a health story, it is a money story. It is a story about how companies survive rising costs, protect margins, keep shoppers calm, and make a smaller, cheaper, sweeter, saltier, more convenient product feel normal. Walk into almost any grocery store and the first feeling is abundance. Bright fruit, cold drinks, fresh bread smell, clean signs, rows of choices. It looks like control. It looks like freedom. But for many families, that freedom ends when the receipt prints. The official language says inflation is cooling, easing, moderating. The shopper language is different. People say the cart is lighter, the snacks are smaller, the meat is thinner. The coupons are harder to understand. The total still hurts even when nothing fancy is inside. That gap between official language and daily life is where this story begins. A price index can tell you what prices did on average. It cannot fully capture the feeling of paying more for a familiar product that somehow became less satisfying. The word fake sounds dramatic, so let us be clear. The point is not that the food supply is imaginary. The point is that modern food is increasingly shaped by substitutes, processing, pricing games, and presentation. The product may be legal, labeled, and safe, while still feeling less real. The supermarket is not designed like a pantry. It is designed like a battlefield for attention. Every shelf is a negotiation between manufacturers, retailers, shoppers, and time. The winner is often not the most nourishing item. The winner is the item that moves fast and earns well. Food companies face real pressures. Labor costs rise. Energy costs rise. Transportation costs rise. Crop failures happen. Animal disease affects supply. Weather affects harvests. Packaging costs move. The uncomfortable part is what happens after those pressures become business strategy. A company can raise the price and risk anger. It can shrink the package and hope you do not notice. It can change ingredients. It can launch a premium version. It can hide the real comparison inside a loyalty deal. It can make the old normal feel like a bargain. That is why the fake feeling is everywhere. It is not one villain with one plan. It is 1,000 small adjustments across the food system. Each one seems minor by itself. Together, they change what dinner feels like. Start with size. The bag looks familiar. The color looks familiar. The logo looks familiar. Your hand recognizes it before your brain checks it. But the weight may not be what it used to be, and most people do not memorize ounces while shopping after work. Government economists do track package size changes when measuring consumer prices. That matters because a smaller package at the same price is still a price increase. But the shopper does not experience it as a spreadsheet. The shopper experiences it as running out sooner. Shrinkflation is real, but it is also easy to misunderstand. It is not the whole reason groceries became expensive. Official analyses have found that downsizing is only a small part of broad inflation. But at the shelf level, it can feel personal because it targets memory. People remember the old bag. They remember the box that lasted all week. They remember when a family size actually felt like a family size. When the size changes quietly, the receipt may not scream. The pantry does. Then comes recipe drift. This is harder to prove at home because formulas change for many reasons. Supply changes. Regulations change. Consumer tastes change. Cost targets change. But shoppers notice when a cookie tastes flatter or a frozen meal feels lighter. Recipe changes are not automatically bad. Sometimes companies remove trans fat, reduce sodium, or improve safety. Sometimes they respond to allergens or sourcing problems, but sometimes the change is simply a cheaper path to the same shelf price. That is where the fake feeling grows. The package promises comfort, nostalgia, and sameness. The product inside has been optimized for cost, shelf life, transport, and repeat purchase. The shopper pays for memory, while the company sells a revised formula. Then comes processing. Processing is not evil. Washing, freezing, baking, drying, canning, fermenting, and pasteurizing all processed food. Some processing makes food safer and more affordable. The problem is when processing becomes the main value, not the support system. Ultra-processed food is a serious public conversation, but even regulators have had to work through what the term should mean. There is no single simple line that every shopper can apply in 5 seconds. That confusion is part of why the aisle feels slippery. Many ultra-processed products are built from refined ingredients, additives, flavors, colors, emulsifiers, and textures that create a powerful eating experience. They can be cheap to store, easy to ship, and quick to consume. That convenience is not an accident. The product is not just food. It is engineering. It is crunch timing, salt distribution, mouthfeel, sweetness curve, aroma release, softness after freezing, color after months on a shelf. It is designed to survive the supply chain and still feel exciting. Again, this does not mean every processed item is poison. Frozen vegetables can be practical, canned beans can be useful, fortified cereal can provide nutrients. The real issue is that the modern diet often makes the engineered option the easiest option by default. Real food asks something from you. It asks for washing, cutting, cooking, storing, planning, and patience. Engineered convenience asks for a microwave, a tear strip, or a tap on a phone. The American schedule made convenience powerful before the food companies even arrived. That schedule is part of the trap. When people are tired, rushed, underpaid, overworked, or caring for children, the cheapest calorie is not always the cheapest life. A simple meal can be cheaper in theory and impossible in practice after a brutal day. Now add price pressure. Fresh food can spoil. Packaged food waits. Fresh food requires skill. Packaged food gives instructions. Fresh food takes time. Packaged food promises speed. So the economy quietly pushes people toward the very products they feel guilty about buying. This is why shaming shoppers misses the point. People are not stupid. They are navigating time, money, fatigue, family preferences, and a store designed to catch them at every weakness. The cart is not just a list. It is a record of pressure. Then comes the label. The front of the package is advertising. The side panel is information. Most shoppers live on the front because the side takes work. That is why words like natural, simple, crafted, farmhouse, ancient, clean, and real carry so much power. Some label terms are tightly regulated. Others are more flexible. That difference matters. A word can feel official without meaning what shoppers think it means. The package can create a mood before the ingredient list tells a more complicated story. The Food and Drug Administration has standards of identity for many foods, meaning some products have rules for what they must contain to use a certain name. But not every comforting phrase on a package works that way. Marketing loves the gray space. When the label says made with real fruit, the shopper imagines fruit. The product may contain fruit, but the strongest experience might come from sweeteners, acids, colors, and flavors. The statement can be true while the impression is inflated. That is one of the most important lessons in modern food. A claim can be technically true and emotionally misleading at the same time. Companies do not need to lie if they can guide your imagination. Look at the cereal aisle. It is a museum of health language and dessert logic. Whole grain on the front, bright colors on the box, cartoon energy in the design, sweetness in the bowl. The parent is buying breakfast. The child is buying a feeling. Look at the drink aisle. A bottle can look like wellness even when it is mostly sweet liquid with a few fashionable words. Hydration, energy, immunity, focus, balance. The promise sounds active. The ingredient list may be ordinary. Look at snacks. Protein, baked, veggie, sea salt, avocado oil, keto, gluten-free. Some of those claims can matter for some people, but they can also make a snack feel more virtuous than it is. A halo can be worth more than the ingredients. The finance angle is simple. Trust is profitable. If a company can make you feel good about paying more, it has more room to protect margins. Premium language turns ordinary products into emotional products. That is why the same basic food can appear in several costumes. The value version, the family version, the organic version, the high-protein version, the limited edition version, the nostalgic version, the expensive version that makes the shopper feel responsible. Sometimes the difference is meaningful. Better sourcing, better ingredients, better labor practices, or smaller batches can cost more. But sometimes the difference is packaging, placement, and story. The shopper has to separate value from theater while standing in aisle traffic. Then comes unit price. This may be the most boring detail in the store, which is exactly why it matters. The real comparison is often not the sticker price. It is the price per ounce, per pound, per sheet, per serving, or per usable meal. A smaller item can feel cheaper while costing more per unit. A jumbo pack can feel economical while encouraging waste. A sale can beat the regular price but still lose to another size. The shelf tag is a tiny math test placed inside a noisy environment. Most shoppers do not fail that test because they are careless. They fail because the store is full of distractions. Different sizes, different flavors, different sales cycles, different loyalty rules, different package shapes. The comparison is made difficult by design and by overload. That is why a cart can be full of deals and still be expensive. The shopper sees savings on individual items. The store sees total basket value. Those are not the same thing. Then comes loyalty pricing. The bright tag says sale, but the small print says member price. The shelf creates two worlds, one price for the person inside the system, another price for the person outside it. The discount becomes a gate. On the surface, loyalty programs help shoppers save. Sometimes they truly do. But they also collect information. They reveal what you buy, when you buy, how often you switch, what discounts move you, and what products anchor your routine. That information is valuable because food is repetitive. Unlike a couch or a television, groceries return every week. Habits are measurable. Once a retailer understands your habits, it can shape offers around them. The fear is not just that stores know you like pasta. The deeper issue is that pricing can become less transparent when every shopper sees a different set of offers, app coupons, digital rewards, and personalized nudges. Regulators have been paying more attention to data-driven pricing because companies across the economy can use consumer data to test what people will tolerate. Grocery is sensitive because food is not optional. You cannot unsubscribe from eating. This does not mean every loyalty deal is sinister. Many families depend on them. The point is that a discount is not always a gift. Sometimes it is a trade. You give data, attention, and habit. You receive a lower price on selected items. Then comes the coupon maze. Paper coupons used to be annoying. Digital coupons can be invisible. The sale price may require an app, an account, a clipped offer, a minimum purchase, or a limit that only appears when you look closely. That system rewards the shopper with time, a smartphone, a stable account, and patience. It punishes the hurried shopper, the older shopper who dislikes apps, the person with poor service in the store, and the parent trying to finish before a child melts down. When food affordability depends on digital choreography, the price is no longer just a price. It is a task. You do not just buy groceries. You manage a small software system while standing under fluorescent lights. Then comes private label. Store brands used to feel like compromise. Plain box. Lower status. Cheaper choice. Now they are a major strategy for retailers because they can build loyalty, control shelf space, and often earn attractive margins. Private label can be a win for shoppers. Many store brand products are good, and some are made by experienced manufacturers. But private label also changes power. The retailer is no longer just the referee between brands. The retailer is also a competitor. When a store owns the brand, controls the shelf, controls the data, controls the promotion, and controls the comparison, it gains leverage. That leverage can lower prices in some cases and reduce choice in others. The fake feeling appears when packages begin to imitate the emotional signals of national brands. Similar colors, similar shapes, similar promises. Not necessarily illegal, not necessarily deceptive, but clearly designed to make switching feel safe. The shopper thinks, maybe this is the same thing for less. Sometimes it nearly is. Sometimes it is not. Either way, the store wins more control over the relationship because the shopper now returns for that store's version. Walmart has built one of the most powerful private label ecosystems in American retail, and its store brand range shows how private labels moved from bargain backup to daily default. The company uses scale, data, and shelf control to make value feel dependable. Costco built private label trust in a different way. Its store brand often feels less like a cheap alternative and more like a membership reward. That is powerful because the shopper is not only buying groceries. The shopper is justifying the membership itself. Amazon changed expectations around food shopping through delivery, subscriptions, and grocery technology. Its grocery push shows how the future of food retail is not only about shelves. It is about data, convenience, logistics, and the habit of reordering without looking. Then comes store layout. Fresh flowers and produce often greet shoppers because freshness calms suspicion. The bakery smell creates warmth. End caps create urgency. Eye-level placement favors certain products. Checkout lanes turn impatience into impulse. Nothing about this requires a conspiracy. It is retail science. Stores test, measure, and refine. They learn where you pause, what you grab, what you compare, what you forget, and what you buy because it is easy. The most profitable food is often not the most basic food. It is branded, packaged, flavored, portioned, promoted, and easy to repeat. The more a product can be differentiated, the less it feels like a commodity. An apple competes with other apples. A branded snack competes with emotion. That is why so much food innovation is really format innovation. Same hunger, new shape. Same sugar, new vibe. Same convenience, new claim. Then comes the premium trap. When ordinary food feels suspicious, shoppers look for a cleaner version. The industry is ready. Organic, grass-fed, regenerative, wild-caught, artisan, small batch, heritage, single origin. The aisle sells reassurance. Some premium claims are meaningful and regulated. Others are broad, vague, or difficult for ordinary shoppers to verify. The result is a two-tier food culture where trust itself becomes expensive. That is one reason people say real food is becoming a luxury. Not because every affordable product is bad, but because the easiest way to feel confident often costs more. You pay for the food, then you pay for relief from doubt. The problem is that premium labels can also become theater. A product can look earthy and still be highly processed. A box can use muted colors and still contain a familiar formula. Minimalist design can be just another costume. The modern shopper is asked to decode language that sounds moral. Clean, better, conscious, pure, guilt-free. But food is not a personality test. It is a necessity sold through identity. That identity pricing is everywhere. The busy parent meal, the gym person snack, the wellness drink, the nostalgic treat, the budget hero, the ethical shopper choice. The food item becomes a badge before it becomes dinner. Then comes convenience pricing. Pre-cut fruit, bagged salad, single-serve snacks, frozen bowls, ready meals, delivery, pickup, meal kits. These products sell time, not just food. Sometimes paying for time is rational. A person working 2 jobs may need the chopped vegetables. A caregiver may need the ready meal. A student may need the frozen dinner. Convenience is not laziness. It is often survival. But convenience can quietly reset expectations. Once a prepared version becomes normal, the raw ingredient looks inconvenient. Once delivery becomes normal, pickup feels like effort. Once snacks are portioned, the full-size bag feels like work. The markup is not only for food, it is for labor that happened before you arrived. Washing, cutting, cooking, packing, transporting, app building, payment processing, delivery routing, customer service, and waste risk. Each layer wants payment. That is how a simple meal becomes a stack of fees. The food has a price. The container has a price. The service has a price. The platform has a price. The tip has a price. The convenience has a price that may not be obvious until checkout. DoorDash is part of this new food economy, where delivery can make a familiar meal feel dramatically more expensive after fees, menu markups, taxes, and tips. The company provides convenience, but the total cost can separate people from the true price of the food. Instacart has shown how grocery shopping can become a digital marketplace, not just a store errand. Online carts add convenience, but they can also introduce service fees, substitutions, price differences, and less direct contact with unit prices on the shelf. Restaurants face the same squeeze. Food away from home has its own inflation story because restaurants pay for labor, rent, insurance, utilities, ingredients, packaging, delivery commissions, and customer expectations at the same time. When a restaurant raises prices, customers get angry. When it shrinks portions, customers notice. When it adds service fees, customers feel tricked. When it asks for higher tips, customers feel pressured. Every option creates friction. So restaurants redesign value. Smaller menus, combo deals, app-only rewards, limited time items, premium burgers, smaller sides, higher drink prices, more kiosks, less table service. The meal becomes a margin puzzle. Fast food used to be the symbol of cheap abundance. Now many shoppers question whether it is still cheap at all. The food is fast, but the receipt can feel strangely close to a casual restaurant, especially when ordered through an app. That shift makes people feel like the bottom disappeared. If groceries are expensive and fast food is expensive and restaurants are expensive, where is the affordable default? The answer is often cooking at home, but time and energy are part of the bill. Substitution is another quiet force. When beef gets expensive, stores promote chicken. When chicken rises, they push processed meals. When fresh fruit hurts, shoppers buy fruit-flavored snacks. When coffee jumps, people trade down or buy bigger containers. Substitution is how households survive inflation. It is also how companies protect sales. If the customer will not buy the old item at the new price, offer a smaller pack, a value line, a bundle, or a flavor extension. This is why the aisle keeps expanding even when people feel poorer. More products do not always mean more freedom. Sometimes more products mean more ways to segment the same tired customer by income, identity, and urgency. Then there is the false bargain. A multi-buy deal can save money if you needed the items. It can waste money if it pushes you to buy more than you would have. The store likes the bigger basket. Your budget may not. Buy one, get one can be useful. But it can also turn a snack into stockpiling. It can make a processed item feel urgent. It can pull money away from simple staples. The deal changes the plan. That is why shopping with hunger is expensive. Hunger turns convenience into necessity. Fatigue turns a treat into a reward. Stress turns a sale into permission. The food industry does not create human weakness, but it knows how to meet it. Then there is the illusion of choice. A shelf may show dozens of products, but many belong to a few large companies, a few suppliers, or a few retail systems. The labels compete, but the economics may be more concentrated than the aisle appears. Concentration matters because power shapes prices, promotions, shelf access, and supply priorities. Regulators have warned that large market participants can use scale in ways smaller players cannot, especially during supply disruptions. During the pandemic period, supply chain shocks exposed how fragile grocery systems can be. Some large retailers had advantages in securing goods, while smaller stores struggled. That does not mean every price rise was abusive. It means power mattered. After the worst shocks eased, many shoppers expected prices to fall back. But prices often do not move like feelings. Costs can fall in one place while wages, rent, debt, insurance, packaging, or contracts keep pressure elsewhere. Also, companies learn what the market tolerated. Once consumers accept a higher price, the old price is not automatically restored. In business language, that is pricing power. In kitchen language, it feels like being trapped. Even inflation data can confuse the story. The Consumer Price Index is useful. It is not fake. It helps track changes across a huge economy, but it is an average, and averages can feel insulting when your personal basket rises faster. Your family may buy more eggs, milk, fruit, rice, meat, baby food, or snacks than the average basket assumes. Your city may be more expensive. Your store may have fewer competitors. Your diet, culture, and schedule may make substitution harder. So when a report says food at home rose by a few percent over a year, that can be true, and your experience can still feel worse. Averages are not receipts, they are maps. A map is useful, but it is not the road under your feet. The same issue happens with food away from home. Official data can show restaurant prices rising at a certain pace, while a family feels the pain through tips, fees, menu redesigns, smaller portions, and the loss of cheap options. That is why many people say the numbers do not match reality. Sometimes the numbers are accurate, but the category is too broad for the emotion. People do not eat categories. They eat the same few meals they can afford. Then comes the health halo. A product can be low-fat and high sugar. It can be gluten-free and still be a cookie. It can be high protein and still be expensive candy. It can be plant-based and still be heavily processed. Health language often works by narrowing your attention. It points to one positive feature and hopes you ignore the full picture. This is not always deception. Sometimes it is just selective emphasis, which is the soul of marketing. The shopper wants a shortcut because the aisle is exhausting. The company offers one. Look here, not there. Focus on protein. Focus on calories. Focus on natural flavor. Focus on no artificial colors. Focus on the one thing that makes you feel safe. The real skill is not cynicism. It is full label thinking. What is the product? What is the main ingredient? What is the serving size? What is the unit price? What is the cheaper substitute? What problem is this item solving for me? Packaging does quiet work. Clear windows suggest freshness. Matte bags suggest luxury. Brown paper suggests natural. Blue suggests clean. Green suggests health. Gold suggests premium. Black suggests serious. Packaging is a silent salesman. It can make a small amount feel special. It can make a processed product feel rustic. It can make a store brand feel upscale. It can make a snack feel like self-care. The more uncertain shoppers become, the more packaging matters. When trust is scarce, design becomes a substitute for proof. The box does not just hold food, it holds reassurance. Waste changes the real price. Americans throw away a lot of food across homes, stores, restaurants, and supply chains. That waste raises the real cost of eating because some of what we buy never becomes a meal. Companies know spoilage risk. That is one reason shelf-stable products are so attractive. A product that lasts longer is easier to stock, ship, promote, and sell. Freshness is beautiful, but it is financially fragile. At home, waste makes cheap food expensive. A large container is not a bargain if half spoils. Fresh produce is not affordable if it dies in the drawer. A meal plan is not savings if life interrupts it. Cooking has invisible labor. Many budget conversations say, just cook from scratch. That advice can be true and incomplete. Cooking requires equipment, time, storage, knowledge, energy, and cleanup. A person in a small apartment, a long commute, a crowded household, or an unstable schedule may not experience cooking the same way a recipe blog imagines it. The food system sells convenience into those gaps. That is why fake food wins so often. It does not only taste good, it fits broken schedules, it fits tired bodies, it fits small kitchens, it fits school nights, it fits the minutes between work and sleep. Value is framed emotionally. A cheap snack feels like relief because it gives immediate pleasure. A bag of vegetables may be better for you, but it asks for a future version of you to do more work. Economists talk about trade-offs. Families live them. Do you buy the healthier item that might be rejected by the kids, or the familiar item that will definitely be eaten? Waste risk pushes people toward predictability. Predictability is one of the strongest products in the grocery store. The same taste every time. The same texture every time. The same instructions every time. That reliability is comforting, even when the product is heavily engineered. Beverage economics are powerful because water is cheap, but branded beverages can carry huge emotional value. Energy, calm, focus, beauty, hydration, digestion, immunity, celebration. The liquid becomes a promise. Many drinks are built around small functional cues. A vitamin here, an herb there, a mineral claim, a clean design. The shopper may be buying hope in a bottle, not just refreshment. The cheaper move is often boring. Water, coffee at home, tea, simple ingredients. But boring does not get the same shelf theater. The aisle makes the upgraded drink feel like a small act of self-improvement. Then comes the clean label paradox. Shoppers say they want shorter ingredient lists. Companies respond by replacing unfamiliar words with friendlier-sounding alternatives, reformulating, or moving complexity into natural flavors. Shorter does not always mean healthier. Longer does not always mean dangerous. A chemical name can describe something ordinary. A natural phrase can hide a complex industrial process. The fear of words can be monetized. The supply chain is mostly invisible. Food can travel far, pass through many hands, and still look simple on the shelf. A cheap price can depend on scale, contracts, fuel, refrigeration, warehousing, and labor most shoppers never see. When one part of that chain gets stressed, the price moves. But when the chain recovers, the price may not fall the same way. Businesses are quicker to explain increases than reductions. Margin protection drives decisions. Public companies are judged by growth, profits, efficiency, and investor expectations. Private companies also need margin to survive. Food may be emotional to families, but it is financial to firms. That difference creates tension. The household wants stability. The company wants performance. The household wants the old price. The company wants the new margin. The household wants trust. The company wants flexibility. No executive needs to hate consumers for this system to feel harsh. Incentives are enough. When every company protects its own numbers, the combined result can feel like a coordinated squeeze, even when it is just ordinary capitalism working through groceries. The loss leader is another classic move. Stores may price some staples aggressively to bring you in, then earn money elsewhere. Milk, eggs, bread, bananas, or rotisserie chicken can act like anchors depending on the retailer and market. The shopper feels smart buying the deal. The store hopes the rest of the basket pays for it. This is why going in for one bargain can end with snacks, drinks, prepared food, and a total that ruins the victory. Apps create their own psychology. Digital grocery shopping removes some impulse temptations but adds others. Recommended items, reorder buttons, sponsored placements, delivery minimums, substitution prompts, deals that expire soon. The app knows the old cart. That is convenient. It also means habit can become automatic. If you never walk the shelf, you may never see the cheaper alternative, the changed unit price, or the smaller package. Shelf space can be bought, promoted, or fought over. In physical and digital stores, visibility is valuable. Products do not simply appear where they appear by destiny. Placement can be negotiated, promoted, tested, and optimized. A shopper may believe the top result is the best match. It may be a paid placement. A shopper may believe an end cap means a special bargain. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it is just prime real estate. Ingredient storytelling is everywhere. Sea salt sounds better than salt. Cane sugar sounds better than sugar. Real cheese flavor sounds better than flavoring. Ancient grain sounds wiser than grain. Words change appetite. The body may process some of these items similarly, but the mind pays different prices for different stories. That is why language matters. It can make an ordinary input feel elevated. The moral burden lands on the shopper. Every purchase becomes a research project. Is this healthy? Is this affordable? Is this ethical? Is this real? Is this too processed? Is this a trick? No household can investigate every item every week. That is why the system favors repeat purchases. Once you trust a product, you stop checking. Once you stop checking, changes become easier to miss. The real controversy is not that every food is fake. The controversy is that so many products are sold as simple, honest, wholesome, affordable, or necessary when they are actually engineered around margins, attention, and behavior. That does not mean you should panic. Panic helps the sellers of fear. The stronger response is calm suspicion, not paranoia, not purity. Just a refusal to let packaging, apps, and fake urgency make every decision for you. When someone says everything you eat is fake now, the most accurate translation is this: the food system has become better at manufacturing the feeling of value than delivering value itself. It manufactures the feeling of abundance through oversized packages and bright shelves. It manufactures the feeling of health through selective claims. It manufactures the feeling of savings through loyalty gates. It manufactures the feeling of convenience through fees. And it manufactures the feeling of choice through endless variations of the same basic idea. Another flavor, another size, another promise, another limited edition, another premium line, another value line. More decisions, not always more power. The way out is not to become a perfect shopper. Perfect shoppers do not exist. The way out is to notice the patterns. Once you see them, the aisle changes. The spell weakens. You start seeing the air in the bag. You start seeing the tiny unit price. You start seeing the app coupon as a gate. You start seeing the premium label as a question, not a guarantee. You start asking better questions. What am I actually buying? Time, taste, nutrition, habit, comfort, status, convenience, fear, or a real meal? That question alone can save money. The biggest takeaway is that fake food is often fake value. The product may be real. The claim may be legal. The store may be clean. But the value can still be inflated, stretched, disguised, or emotionally engineered. The second takeaway is that affordability is not just about prices. It is about package size, unit cost, waste, fees, time, storage, cooking ability, transportation, and the mental energy required to shop well. The third takeaway is that trust has become a luxury good. People pay more for labels that make them feel safe, simple, healthy, ethical, or real. Sometimes that trust is earned. Sometimes it is rented through design. The fourth takeaway is that ordinary shoppers are not imagining the frustration. Food prices, restaurant costs, package changes, app fees, and promotion complexity can all be real at the same time, even when official averages sound calmer. The fifth takeaway is that you still have power. Not total power, but practical power. Compare the unit price. Read beyond the front label. Question convenience. Use coupons carefully. Build staples. Save delivery for when it truly matters. That is the hidden cost now. Everything you eat is fake now is not a command to fear your pantry. It is a warning to wake up inside the marketplace. The store is speaking to your hunger, your memories, your stress, your children, your schedule, and your wallet. The next time you shop, do not just ask, is this food real? Ask, is this value real? Is this deal real? Is this portion real? Is this claim real? Is this convenience worth what it costs me? Because the most expensive fake food is not always the most processed item. Sometimes it is the item that convinces you not to look closer. If this video made you see your grocery cart differently, like the video, share it with someone who keeps saying food does not taste or cost the same anymore, and comment with this question: what product made you realize the food aisle had changed?